Every morning, Lara rushes her little daughter to school, juggling breakfast, backpacks, and a job that never waits. Across the playground, Ryan does the same with his son, tying shoelaces and juggling a last-minute work call. Their eyes meet for a fleeting second, a tired nod, a small smile, but nothing more. Two single parents, exhausted and quietly struggling, passing each other every day, unaware that today, during a simple parent-teacher meeting, a small, unexpected moment will quietly change both their lives forever. It was the day of the parent-teacher meeting, and both Lara and Ryan were carrying a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Lara's stomach twisted with worry. What if her daughter's teacher said she wasn't keeping up? Ryan was hoping his son hadn't forgotten anything important for the meeting. As soon as the school gate swung open, both children bolted forward, full of energy and curiosity. Lara's daughter squealed with excitement, her little backpack bouncing on her shoulders. Ryan's son ran in the opposite direction, arms flailing, trying to reach the school gate first. In a heartbeat, they collided in the middle of the playground. Crayons scattered across the floor, drawing books toppled, and papers fluttered like autumn leaves. Lara's daughter cried instantly, startled and hurt, while Ryan's son froze, panicking at the sudden chaos. Lara felt a wave of embarrassment wash over her, wishing she could have controlled the situation before it spiraled. Ryan's face flushed as he knelt down, trying to calm his son while apologizing at the same time. Both parents were juggling their own nerves, the children's distress, and the sudden mess, a small storm of chaos in an otherwise ordinary day. As they scrambled to gather crayons and drawings, a quiet moment of shared helplessness passed between them. For a brief instant, they looked at each other, not with judgment, but with understanding. Both knew the weight of parenting alone, the exhaustion, and the constant balancing act of keeping everything together. Even amid the small disaster, something subtle began to form, a tiny spark of connection, born from empathy and shared struggle. After the initial chaos, Ryan's son instinctively ran to Lara's daughter, wrapping his small arms around her as she sniffled, startled by the fall. Lara watched, amazed, as her daughter's tears slowed and a small, relieved smile appeared. In that simple gesture, both parents realized something subtle but profound. Their children had already formed a quiet, natural bond, a connection built not through planning, but through the little shared moments and mutual comfort at school. Seeing this, Ryan knelt beside Lara's daughter, gently helping her gather the scattered crayons and drawing books. His calm, patient manner immediately impressed Lara. He smiled softly at her and said, "Looks like you two are already the best of friends, and we're just the adults trying to catch up." Lara felt a flicker of gratitude, and, surprisingly, a spark of curiosity, toward this quiet, thoughtful man who seemed to understand children instinctively. Then a small, everyday mishap added a touch of lightness to the morning. Lara accidentally dropped her phone while adjusting her daughter's backpack. Ryan bent down, picked it up, and handed it back with a gentle, reassuring smile. "Here, don't worry, mornings like this happen to all of us," he said softly, his voice warm and kind. Lara felt a small, unexpected flutter in her chest and couldn't help but smile. For a brief, fleeting moment, the tension of the chaotic morning eased, and the weight of exhaustion felt lighter, shared between two people who instinctively understood one another. As they waited outside the classrooms for the parent-teacher meetings to begin, conversation came naturally. At first, they spoke about their children, Lara asking how Ryan's son was adjusting to the new class, Ryan complimenting how gentle and brave Lara's daughter was. Then, slowly, the talk drifted to the realities of being a single parent, bedtime struggles, picky eating battles, the constant juggle of work and home, the quiet exhaustion that sometimes felt impossible to shake. It was in these quiet, honest exchanges that a deeper connection began to form. Lara realized how comforting it was to speak to someone who truly understood the weight of caring for a small life alone, someone who had lived the same small victories and setbacks. Ryan, in turn, felt a warmth he hadn't noticed in years, a subtle relief at meeting someone who could relate to his challenges without judgment. Little gestures added to the growing warmth. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the hallway. Startled, Lara's daughter flinched, and without hesitation, Ryan quickly moved closer to Lara's daughter, gently placing a hand around her and guiding her to stand closer to him, protecting her from the startling sound. She felt a wave of safety in his calm presence, and Lara couldn't help but notice how naturally he seemed to care. In those moments, the chaos of the morning faded, replaced by a shared sense of understanding and empathy. Two strangers, brought together by chance, were slowly discovering the comfort of having someone who could share the unspoken struggles, the quiet victories, and the daily chaos of parenthood. It was a connection that didn't need words to feel real, an unspoken recognition that they weren't alone, that their children had already found a friend, and that perhaps they, too, could find one in each other. The parent-teacher meeting hummed quietly, children focused on their small group activities, crayons and paper scattered across the tables. Ryan had been called aside, the teacher gesturing toward him gently as she spoke. Lara sat a few seats away, watching as Ryan listened intently, his brows slightly furrowed. "He's a bright little boy," the teacher said, her voice kind, "but I notice he struggles to follow instructions during group activities. Sometimes he gets distracted, or he hesitates when asked to participate. It can be a little overwhelming for him." Ryan nodded, feeling the familiar weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The teacher continued, offering practical suggestions for guiding his son through these moments. Ryan felt both anxious and guilty, wanting to do everything right, yet knowing the struggle of balancing work and parenting left him stretched thin. Lara, observing quietly, felt a sudden tug of empathy. She could see the tension in his posture, the faint worry behind his eyes. Without thinking, she leaned forward, moving closer to where Ryan stood. "I can help," she said softly, her voice calm but confident. "I'll volunteer to assist during activities. We can make this easier together." Ryan glanced at her, surprised, and caught the warmth in her eyes. She gave a small, reassuring nod, a gesture full of understanding, as if saying, "I see you. You're not alone in this." For a heartbeat, Ryan felt a weight lift from his chest. A warm smile spread across his face, quiet but genuine. He nodded back at her, letting her know the silent message had been received. She understood the pressure he felt as a single parent, without him saying a word. In that fleeting, unspoken exchange, something shifted. Both parents felt a deep, quiet recognition, a shared understanding that came from knowing the other had walked the same path, faced the same struggles, and somehow, in this small moment, offered support without words. Their children laughed softly in the background, oblivious to the significance of the moment, yet somehow echoing it. Lara caught Ryan's eye again, a soft smile crossing her lips. He returned it, and for a brief moment, the room felt lighter, warmer. They were no longer just two single parents navigating their own challenges, they were two people who saw and supported each other naturally, quietly, and completely. As the meeting drew to a close, Lara and Ryan gathered their children, who were now happily showing each other their stickers and drawings. Outside the classroom, the late afternoon sunlight wrapped the hallway in a warm glow, soft and comforting, much like the connection that had quietly formed between them. They walked together toward the school gates, their children skipping ahead, hands swinging in play. Every now and then, Lara and Ryan exchanged small smiles, the kind that held gratitude and possibility. At the gate, they slowed, the place where their paths split in opposite directions. Their children hesitated to let go, tiny hands still linked, as if they sensed the special connection the adults were only just beginning to understand. Lara cleared her throat gently and offered her daughter a reassuring smile. "We'll see them tomorrow," she said softly. Ryan glanced at Lara, a hint of relief in his eyes. "Yeah, tomorrow," he echoed, a quiet promise tucked inside the word. There was a brief pause, a shared heartbeat between two people who had spent so long carrying everything on their own. In that quiet moment, they realized that life doesn't feel quite as heavy when someone sees your struggles and chooses to stand beside you anyway. They waved goodbye, children calling out each other's names, and Ryan and Lara exchanging one last knowing smile. Then they walked away in different directions, yet the day felt anything but ordinary. Something new had begun, a connection filled with support, empathy, and maybe, just maybe, something more. Sometimes, it only takes a small act of understanding to change the course of a day, or even a life. Have you ever met someone who made life feel a little lighter? Comment yes if you've ever felt that kind of connection. If you feel like sharing, we'd love to hear your story in the comments. Your experiences might touch someone's heart today.